let's just go through. The first college football poll is out. Let's walk through that. 11 of the 12 teams on the college football poll are from the big boy conferences. The group of 4, the marquees. There's only one team from the group of 5. That's Boise State, rightfully so. So the question is, will the college football playoffs be all the big boys and then the one they have to give to the lower level conference top team? That bears watching. Oregon remains number 1 in the college football poll. Ohio State's right there. They've been beaten. Georgia's right there. They've been beaten. Texas is right there. They've been beaten. So obviously somebody with 1 loss and some people with 2 losses are probably not going or are probably going to make it. If Alabama loses another game and they play LSU this weekend, they're probably done. So it'll be fascinating to see not who's number 1, because I think we all know the marquee names, but who's in that 10, 11, and 12 slot, because there's some people that are going to lose here before this thing is done. We could still have an unbeaten BYU team get in, along with Boise State, and I think Boise's going to run the table.
Wow. I mean, Boise, you think can run they can run the table in the regular season, maybe in the Mountain West, but not in that playoff.
No, but I'm saying run the table to be where they are with only 1 loss.
Oh, yeah.
Their only loss was to Oregon by a couple points on opening day.
Yeah.
They almost beat Oregon. Oregon, by the way, is number 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, Boise rolled the Aztecs, but, yeah, it's some of these teams that are involved here, like Georgia, Texas. I mean, this is going to be a tough bracket.
There's a lot of good college football out there.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think the playoffs will be great, with the exception we're going to have 1 or 2 teams from the non-Power 4 conferences. How do they hold up?
Watch BYU win the whole thing, and then we can get angry at BYU again for winning a national championship. Hey, they don't make sense. They don't deserve it.
Okay, so that's the college football polls. I think it's been a great year in college football. USC, they're 4-5. They have lost 4 of their last 5. Lincoln Riley has taken so much heat at Southern Cal. Now, I don't think his job's in jeopardy, but he just benched his quarterback. Miller Moss sits down. His play has regressed since the 6-touchdown game in the Holiday Bowl at the end of last season. He's thrown 9 interceptions. His decision-making really is suspect. They're going with a guy who transferred in after a fabulous freshman year at UNLV. His name is Jaden Mayava. And Mayava threw for 2,400 yards and 20 touchdowns as a freshman at UNLV and then disappeared. Showed up at USC. He's going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. So USC is going to try to change what's happened to their offense. San Diego State, Friday Night Football, New Mexico.
Again.
This is really interesting. Yes, again, Friday night game. The Aztecs got their brains beat out at Boise State. I think they bounce back. They get a New Mexico team that's really dangerous offensively. New coach, Bronco Mendenhall. He found himself a quarterback, Devin Dampier, who makes things happen. They don't play a lick of defense. I would assume San Diego State's going to put 450 yards on the game. I think this will be a breakout game for Danny O'Neal. But again, you're playing the Lobos, who don't play defense, don't have enough players. But the flip side is I'm going to be fascinated to see on Friday night how Devin Dampier, who's really explosive, run and throw, holds up against what I think is a vaunted athletic Aztec defense. Devin Dampier has 2,900 all-purpose yards already. He's got 23 touchdowns on the season. They're averaging 480 a game offensively, New Mexico is.
Really?
But they're giving up 492. They're giving up 40 points a game. So can you say shootout? So I think it'll be fun to watch Dampier, who just seems to be electric, versus what I think is a really good Aztec defense. It just played its guts out this year, has been on the field way too long. So this could be 45-42. By the way, last week, New Mexico played Wyoming. 1,150 yards in total offense between the two teams.
Holy
up
crap.
and down the field, up and down. Nobody could stop. Defense was optional. So
Wow.
Friday night is going to be fun. So that's where we are in college football. Then John Riley, you got a comment on USC and what's befallen Lincoln Riley, and your thoughts on Aztec football, which has kind of been up, kind of been down at 3-5 on the season.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to the Aztecs, they're 3-5. They just got to win 3 more, and they're bowl eligible, and that would be a gigantic achievement, for Sean Lewis. When was the last time New Mexico was relevant in football? I mean, they had Brian Urlacher like a decade or two ago,
A
wasn't it?
long time. The last time they were relevant, Rocky Long was going to sidelines playing defense.
Exactly. So, it's weird. That stadium, too, in Albuquerque, they got a big stands on one side, and on the other side, like, I don't even know if they even have stands.
Bronco Mendenhall is a great established coach. I mean, he rebuilt Virginia. Prior to that, he was at BYU. And so I was surprised he came out of retirement. He quit at Virginia 2 years ago and just needed a break from football. All of a sudden, he shows up in Albuquerque, and all of a sudden, his quarterback arrives, so that he's going to fix New Mexico football for the Mountain West Conference. I think he's a really gifted coach, and he's got standards, and they do play defense. He'll fix that defense, and boy, he's got the sophomore quarterback that is really special.
Yeah, that's exciting. Good on those guys. They need a little bit of help there in Albuquerque.
That'll be Friday night on FS1.
Yeah, this is the second week in a row.
Friday night.
And I remember the game last week, Boise and San Diego State, and it was a blowout. And you could tell that the announcers kind of lost their energy, and it was going to a national audience.
Yep.
And now they invited the Aztecs back the second week.
45-42.
Well, if it turns out to be like that, then it'll be must-see TV.
I concur with you. That's all things college football. Got an opinion? Fans Forum chat box. It's got your name on it. Jump on board.